it just seems like the methods were different, but it probably was more straightforward. Like guys came to your house to sell you shit, and I would have fucking hated that. Like if a guy was like, "Hey, I want you to buy the latest vacuum cleaner," and he would tell me all this stuff about it. That let's just give him the 40s guy the benefit of the doubt and say he was telling the truth. It's just harder to say no to a stranger than it is just to look at a leaflet and fucking tear it up and throw it away.
Oh yeah,
And that's what's changed. Is they're like we'll just say shit that just doesn't make any sense or just can't be ever proven to be right or wrong, but we'll let you do it without sending somebody to your house or engage in the marketing.
Well, I think too, people they've either become more savvy or they've become just harder people, tougher people, more callous people.
Yeah.
And just don't have the same compunction for like telling somebody to fuck off if they're standing at their front door.
Right.
Whereas in, ye oldie timey days, I think people might have been a little more like stiff, straight laced, more polite, more interested in appearances, and I think people in marketing over time sort of noticed the trend of like, oh, a lot of these people when we go to their house they just tell us to fuck off, like this isn't working anymore. They're getting wise to us. You're getting wise to us, Sam. We better 23 skidoo. So it's just what I mean by the evolution of marketing. Like it's just a new form. It'll always keep evolving and changing. And
well, yeah, and the thing nowadays, like the education I got, the easiest way to turn it to evil, it was to go into marketing because the big thing in the past like decade, and people are just now starting to talk about it, but data driven marketing. And like, did I ever tell you about that article I read? The reporter specifically went to Target and their analytics people. I mean, lots of companies do it, but how they do data driven marketing. Basically, the marketing execs who don't necessarily know any of the statistical shit basically went to the people in marketing and said, we want to know when women are pregnant before the baby's born, basically, or before we have to ask them. And they actually, they just worked backwards. They took, people that were regular Target shoppers that they knew had children, looked at their purchasing history, and were able to come up with an equation that can predict based on certain habits, like whether or not a woman was pregnant. And they tried it, and basically it works.
Yeah.
Is, if you look to see what certain products women are buying, and it's not obvious shit, like... That was the really interesting things. And so they just send them, flyers and coupons and stuff. And, somebody almost got punched out because their 16-year-old daughter was starting to get flyers for, baby shit. And then he had to apologize a week later when he found out that there were things going on at his house that he was not aware of.
Well, just defending that sort of arrogant defending your own family and your own, because, this idea that like your daughter wouldn't get pregnant under the wrong circumstances in your opinion because she's your daughter, and like anything of yours is good because you're so good, and like you're better than everybody else. It's sort of the mentality of like punching somebody out, and then it turns out your daughter was pregnant. You see it everywhere.
Right.
And as far as this marketing idea goes, like I'm sure a lot of people do have weird feelings about it. Like on the one hand, like if you want to use data in some way that you have access to, I guess. But on the other hand, it's creepy and weird
right,
that they know so much about your life because you bought like this many Q-tips and like rubbing alcohol like in the same week.
Right.
That implies something or other, along with these other products. And,
we found out that there's a particular trend in predicting which of our customers has genital warts.
They start getting advertisements in the mail. Yeah, it's gonna be a brave new world. I've been saying that like every fucking week. Brave new world.
Well, it is.
Feeling a little down? Try Soma.
There's actually a drug called Soma.
Yeah.
I think that's fucked up. Because it's fucked up for one of two reasons. Because someone either did read Brave New World and went, fuck it, let's call it Soma. or they're not aware of any sort of dystopian future literature, and they were told after the fact, you guys named your drug Soma. Yeah, that's like the main drug in a dystopian future novel.
Well, I remember us talking about this a couple other times, and since then I've sort of had the idea that it was a room full of people, which I also said before, but a room full of people, like 11 of them didn't know anything about Brave New World, and one did, and as a joke, he suggested Soma, and they ran with it. And he's like, "Oh, fuck it, we'll call it Soma then."
Oh well,
like a really good prank. He pulled a really good prank.
I think that might actually explain like half of drug names, is that they're really good pranks because they're just fucking retarded words. I can't believe the kind of shit that ends up being the name of drug or the logo for a drug company.
Well, I remember you saying too, like how like they sound fancy in Latin and Greek, but when you translate them, they just mean like ass cream, or the disease you have is like literally like asshole protrusion. That's what it means.
Right. If you have a disease where you can't stop shitting, the word for it means in Greek, cannot stop shitting.
Like shit's too much.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Where was I going with this? I remember what it was. There was an old gag on Saturday Night Live about this where they decided to acknowledge that, and they were running those fake commercials for ass no smell. And it was like, you've tried everything. Lotions, perfumes, and it shows Kevin Nealon like dabbing like cologne on his asshole. And it's like an office environment, everybody's repelled by the guy's ass smell. And then somebody leaves a bottle of ass no smell on his desk and it fixes his problem. That would be awesome if every product was named like that.
The thing I would like to bring back,
don't itch.
The thing I would love to bring back, if it were in any way feasible, which I doubt it is to bring back like the oldie timey, like different categories of I don't know. Oh, I can't fucking explain it. Basically, like things like tincture.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you need anything, you just need a pill or a cream. It's too straightforward. More ointments, more tinctures, more solutions, more distillations or distillates, stuff like that. I would like that. It would be fun.
It sounds fancy.
Oh yeah. Well, it sounds somehow like you're getting something more complex.
Yeah.
You're not just getting penicillin, you're getting tincture of penicillin. Ooh. Tincture of penicillin.
I'm special.
Sounds 12 times more effective. Yeah, I'm special.
Well, at the end of the day, it's that same dad who punched somebody out because he insisted his daughter wasn't pregnant. He's the same jackoff that would go buy tincture of penicillin, but not regular penicillin, because he thinks he's special and he wants to feel special. Like a special little snowflake.
He would also go to his doctor when he has the flu and demand antibiotics.
Yes. They'd punch him out if we didn't get him.
Yeah. That's why I know there are ethical, considerations to be made with this, but that's why I like the fact that there used to be a prescription called SIBO.
SIBO.
That my wife told me about. It's just placebos. They're just sugar pills. And basically when you had a patient come in and they were clearly full of shit, you just wrote them a 2-week supply of SIBO.
I've heard it called Placebex.
That would be good too. I mean,
so I'm sure they probably came out with this many different times.
Oh yeah, well, and why wouldn't you want to have different times?
Yeah.
Because if somebody said, "Oh no, I don't think that SIBO is working for anymore," you'd be like, "Oh, well, there's something new. Mm-hmm. It's called Placebex. It's the same. They just approved it." And you couldn't do it anymore because the internet and shit, but it would be awesome.
Oh, no, you could still do it. Like, there's true. So many people that think dumb shit or aren't aware of smart shit. Like, there are, like, we both know this, and we're both into this, like, all the scams that there are in the world. And some of them are more, intricate and plausible.
Yeah.
And some of them are just fucking retarded dumb. Like you are dumb for thinking of these things, and there are so many people out there that, like there are people that sell magic spells on the internet.
They just banned that actually.
Yeah, and recently on eBay they finally stopped doing this. But there were lots of people buying magic spells, and stupid. It's just somebody's like writing a bunch of crap on their eBay like ad and charging you like some money, and they're not doing dick. Like, and with the internet and everything,
I think the engorgement charm works.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were pushing that that thing, shopping cart that was covered in a blanket that looked like a roll of carpet.
Well, guys got to make a living.
I think it would be a funny experiment to see if, and I'm also a big fan of Penn and Teller bullshit. And after watching some of the little tests they did in malls, where they got a drain pipe and told somebody it was a healing magnet. And, they painted the end of it red, basically, and made it into a horseshoe. There are a lot of dumb fucks out there like that, and I want to see if you could give people a fancy-looking pill bottle that said SIBO on it, or whatever, Placebex, or, make some other bullshit name up. And inside, obviously, it's placebos, but it's just M&Ms. I want to see if somebody would be like, okay.
Maybe Skittles.
That's one of them is SIBO and one's Placebex. M&M's and Skittles. New formula. Now fruity.
Mars and Pfizer team up.
I'm going to go ahead and lay down a Bad Guy Lounge free beer token right now and bet that we could find not only a person who falls for the M&M SIBO test, but I would say hundreds would fall for it. If you were to find a way to get a big test together and
oh, you mean hundreds out of a sample population? Sample, or hundreds out of all of the people living in America?
If we did a test in a clinic or a mall or something over a period of days, I bet you with the number of people in a mall, say, stopping by your kiosk, seeing what you're into, they got a woman on bullshit to shove chocolate up her asshole.
Holy shit!
This is what makes me think you could totally get people to, and then in the bottle of SIBO, you open it up, you're like, yep, take these pills. It's M&Ms. They look like M&Ms. They have a fucking M on them. I'm so convinced that you could totally get hundreds of people to believe that this will cure what ails you.
And put it up their assholes.
Yeah.
This is a less conventional route of administration. We'll say. Oh, and a lot of it's just presentation. We would just have to make sure that we weren't, nicer clothes than we're wearing right now. Wear lab coats, have something with a nice logo, some clipboards with maybe the logo on it, it's drug company sort of crap that they produce.
Stop! You're making us look bad because that's what we do over in the lab.
Oh shucks!
You just described us to a T. Lab coats, badges, clipboards, and we're doing something that looks official.
Long story short, if you happen to be at the mall anytime soon and some official-looking gentleman ask you if you would be willing to try this new anally administered medicine, think twice.
I don't think I've ever heard it described as anally administered medicine before. Somebody should start a blog called Anal-Based Medicine.
Or anus-based medicine. This could be a new diet. This could be a whole new health scam we could work on.
Well, based on all the stories I've heard from people whose grandmothers, there seems to be a lot of people out there that are yeah, my grandmother used to take my rectal temperature all the time, or yeah, childhood was just suppositories, fucking suppositories. I think there's sort of an idea, and especially older people's heads, that you need to constantly do stuff to your asshole for good health. So, and now the coffee enema generation is, it's the carryover.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of coffee enemas.
Yeah, it's apparently anus-based medicine. Blog entry number 1.
This could be a whole series of products. This could be a book.
Oh, well, there's a ton of products I know about that revolve
ABM.
That revolve around your asshole in some way. That they're all scammy.
Well, I do too, but nobody's going to buy them for their health.
Oh, well, I don't know. A lot of people, nobody like us would. Well, a lot of our listeners know, but like take for example these pills that you take. They're supposed to clean you out, and all they are like what it is. You take these pills, and the belief is that you're full of like buildup or whatever nonsense they say.
Right. So
like after a certain period of time, like a day or some hours or something, you take a giant dump, and it's like this long, just huge, way bigger than anything you've ever done before. Shit, and they attribute that to all the toxins, like we've covered already,
right,
in your body, and
that just hang out.
What it really is the pill is filled with some sort of. It's a material very similar to clay that expands when it gets hydrated.
Okay,
and you're shitting out the expanded material that came in the pill. You've totally been scammed, and it's one of the most.
Oh, we could do this already. It's fiber pills. You could, that does that.
Well, this is like it's completely scammy because fiber pills actually have a benefit. Like fiber is good for you, but this clay material that's in these things, the whole purpose of it is to expand to make it to imitate toxins that you're shitting out.
All right,
it's totally scammy and totally weird and asshole-ish.
Asshole oriented.
It's no pun intended there. It's unscientific, and it's a beautiful example that I brought it up because it's a beautiful example of asshole based medicine at its finest absurdity. So, and you could go on and on about these things, the all the crazy things. Maybe I'll touch on them, no pun intended, over time, over different episodes of different weird products that are unscientific that people sell to you for a high price that are meant to be used with your asshole in some way.
I knew a guy who cured his diabetes through asshole-based medicine.
I'm gonna spit my drink out. That sounds like a good testimonial.
What are some arthritis somehow? Like, what are the common complaints you always hear about?
Well, there's arthritis, diabetes, like erectile dysfunction.
People that quit smoking after they took used one of our products.
Yeah,
asshole-based products.
Smoking cessation
via nicotine enemas
via the asshole. Something that you actually smoke using your asshole. Like an e-cigarette. That would be
an a-cigarette.
Yes. I wouldn't put a real cigarette down there.
It's water vapor. It's all natural.
Well, also, are you aware that
our nicotine is plant-derived?
Like 100+ years ago, it was believed in England, I think, that to resuscitate a drowning victim, you were supposed to literally blow smoke up their ass. Huh. Have you ever heard of that one?
No. I thought you were going to say slap them with a dead fish.
Well, that wouldn't be asshole-based unless you
well, sure, good point.
Unless you meant slap them on the asshole.
That takes skill to get your aim that good.
But yeah, they had like emergency kits and everything, all designed
like bellows.
Like bellows, yeah. It's like a combination of a bellows and a tobacco pipe. And like if you caught like a drowning victim, you were supposed to like quickly grab this like. It was mounted on a wall like a fire extinguisher would be, like by like water, like bodies of water, and you would like quickly like light it up and like shove it in their ass and like start pumping, and like I don't know how in the world like somebody like came to this conclusion that this is how you resuscitate somebody. I obviously it got there somehow, so I'm not going to argue from ignorance that it was impossible because it's a fact that it happened. But what the fuck, people?
That bolsters my thinking that when you look at all the stupid shit people have believed throughout history, everything pales in comparison. Ideas about the world, about the universe, about stars, planets, physics, chemistry, etc. All the stupid ideas pale in comparison to the stupid ideas about the human body and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Those seem to be never-ending. Yeah. Just a never-ending march of, I take creatine. Or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just, I guess people just...
Gotta bulk up.
They sort of, hoo-ah. They sort of, it's easy to this is a little more on the sciencey side. So basically, the way to make a logical argument, put simply, is that you start out with a premise, an idea, an assumption about reality somehow. You use, I can never remember, is it sound logic or valid logic? You use logic, and then you come to a conclusion, and I can never remember whether it's a sound conclusion or a valid conclusion.
Probably valid, because you can make inconsistent, like, arguments that are actually not true, but they're sound.
So you use sound logic to reach a valid conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you start out with a premise, you use sound logic, and you arrive at a valid conclusion. And the way people always get off the tracks in many, many thousands of different areas in life, scams, whatever it is, asshole-based medicine, somewhere along the line, they either had a premise that was bullshit, they didn't use good logic, such as, I wore a red shirt and I got into a car accident, so therefore red shirts cause car accidents.
Yeah.
That's logic. It's just not very good logic.
Right.
It's the sort of logic you would use if you were, like a fucking moron, to use a technical term.
Well, because in that case, both of the premises, could be true, could be or are true, but the conclusion has nothing to do with the relationship between the premises in terms of its validity.
So then you arrive at your conclusion, such as that's where the therefore comes in. Therefore, red shirts cause car accidents. Therefore, going to the trouble of building bellows with tobacco pipes on them and blowing smoke into people's assholes that have drowned will save them. Somehow along the way, you've started with a bad premise or you've used bad logic, and you arrive at these weird-ass scenarios that happen in real life. And stop that shit, people. Knock that fucking shit off. That's all I have to say.
Knock it the fuck off.
I mean, those three things, like, really it's simple to remember, and it sounds pretty simple conceptually, but that really is like the cause of a lot of the problems. It's the cause of why people start doing this crazy crap. And I don't go around really harping at people about this as much anymore. I used to be like, Jesus, it's three things you got to remember and just do them well and everything will be fine. But it's way more complicated than that. The products are still sold, the people still buy them. People still argue with me all the time. They tell me I'm an idiot because I don't use asshole-based medicine, whatever it is. And
you haven't given up gluten.
Right. Gluten, the wheat belly bullshit that's going on right now. It's just endless. Just the number of products and services, and they've been arrived at because the provider or the recipient has made an error in one or more of these three steps: premise, logic, conclusion. So, fuck you for doing that. Like, stop that shit. Stop selling that shit and stop buying that shit. But I decided I still argue with people sometimes, and, but I sort of have accepted the reality of the situation.
Okay.
There are a lot of dumb fucking people in the world, and arrogant and selfish on top of it. And it's like the dad who punches the store guy because they said his daughter was pregnant and it turns out she was. It's that sort of arrogant, just asshole-ish behavior where you're willfully ignorant. Like, you're not just ignorant or you're not just stupid. You're willfully ignorant where, despite everything, you are willfully going to obstinately disagree and try as hard as you can to oppose, like, the sensible reality of the situation. And if you're one of those people, just fuck you. So
yeah, I mean, the willful ignorant to me are some of the worst people, because if you're just ignorant, that's what I've always said. If you're just ignorant, meaning, because too many people take that as an insult, that just means you don't fucking know something.
Right.
And if you don't know something, that's okay. There's a lot of shit I don't know that I'm ignorant of. And if you're dumb, you probably can't help being dumb either. Yeah. And, then you just need to back off and then let other people handle things. But if you're willfully ignorant, if you basically are able to process new information and you go, fuck that, that's for queers. Like, then you can die in a fire. You are the only group of people I genuinely hate and blame for a lot of problems.
Yeah, people like that are why I use the expression, just go crash your car into an AIDS tree.
Yeah.
Just, we actually bust a lot of people's balls on here about being stupid or ignorant or dumb or whatever. And we use that language casually, not absolutely technically.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on writing in about that, just crash your car into an AIDS tree.
Well, because that's probably the people we usually mean is the willful ignorant.
Yes, that's what I always mean, and I'm not going to use super technical, super accurate language on a comedy show that touches on laboratory activities and science occasionally.
And assholes.
Yeah, asshole-based medicine.
Oh, I meant assholes.
Well, I mean, it could be a double meaning, too. Mm-hmm. As in, if you use it on your asshole, and if you use it, you're a fucking asshole.
This could be part of like a huge performance art project where we do asshole-based medicine for 2 years, and then we go, haha, it is asshole-based medicine. We pretended it was medicine, and you're all assholes.
I'm kind of hungry. Do you have any of those SIBOs left? I'm feeling chocolatey today.
It would be wonderful.
So, I actually, going backwards a little bit.
Okay.
I was thinking about, since we brought up the Hunger Games, I was thinking about movies. We've been watching a lot of movies lately.
True.
As I said, I enjoy a wide variety of violent type movies, but I enjoy a wide variety of movies in general. I usually, though, I have the curse of finding plot holes, like way more than other people do, or weird absurdities that sort of ruin the movie for me.
Well, you have the curse of not being able to zone out every time you're planted in front of a movie.
Yeah, unless I've had a bunch of beers, and then it's anybody's guess. Like, I'll watch baseball at that point, and not the bull kind, the regular kind.
That's terrible.
But there were some movies that I found somewhat enjoyable. When we went to the drive-in with our best gals a few weeks ago, we saw. Let's see. That's something we like to do, by the way, people. Is we rock it old school and go to the drive-in movies.
We got bench seats in the car.
Yeah. Take a cooler full of booze and some sandwiches and, just chill the fuck out.
Mother's Little Helpers.
Yeah. But Ted was pretty good. Saw Ted. I don't have much to say about it. I enjoy that it's very much like, Peter Griffin and Brian the dog, that sort of vibe going on.
That's the only thing I'll chime in with though on Ted is that, like, I think a lot of people went to see it and they weren't Family Guy fans, and they didn't know Seth MacFarlane's style, and they didn't get the humor, and they didn't get that, like, Seth MacFarlane likes to make fun of a lot of the conventions of movie making and TV making and how like silly and hackneyed it can be.
Mm-hmm.
You see it all the time, like just in dialogue or like stock characters or even the way he sets up shots. And I think, like, a lot of people said that when I was reading critiques of the movies, like, oh, it was so derivative and cliched. And it's like, that's his thing, you dipshits.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to my brother about it, and the way that he put it is you either get the joke or you are the joke.
Yeah.
When you approach, like, Seth MacFarlane humor. And that's basically what happened, is if you looked at that movie and you're like, oh, he just, this is silly. Like, he's not a very good filmmaker. You're the butt of the joke then, because you fucked up. You didn't understand. So that seemed overly serious. But anyway, that was my 2 cents on Ted.
Now, on the other hand, Prometheus, which had a whole bunch of shitty, plot holes, and it was rather predictable, in a way. Now, you can't say the same thing about that. That is, it's not because I don't get the movie in that case. That's just because that movie sucked.
Yeah, that movie blew.
That sucked a bag of donkey dicks.
And I wish I had looked up beforehand to see that the guy who wrote Lost wrote the movie.
Yeah.
Because, like, sorry if you're listening and you're a Lost fan, but that show had promise for like a season or two, and then you went, blow my brains out. This is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And that's basically the way Prometheus was. And it has already been greenlit for another fucking movie.
Yeah, and there have been many other people, and it'll totally sell.
Yeah, well.
There have been many people who've covered all the plot holes. I'm not going to run over them all again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but it is hilarious just how many there are, how many problems there are. Like, right off the bat, like, one thing I will mention is, like, when David the android says how long they've been asleep for, why does he say, 2 years, 3 months, so many days, and 36 hours? That makes no fucking sense.
Right.
And that's one of the only ones I'm going to touch on here. But it's one of the simplest, and I think it illustrates my whole point about how sucky this movie is. That they couldn't even fucking get that right.
And the Fantastic Planet aliens.
The Fantastic Planet aliens. Oh, you mean those
the white guys?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I think it's called Fantastic Planet.
Yeah,
I think from the 60s.
I remember seeing that, and it's this weird, like sort of
like humans are kept as pets.
It's like an artsy cartoon. Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that.
I was shown that when I was way too young to know what the fuck was going on, and it's just burned into my cranium, and it just pops up every once in a while. I'm like, hydrogen.
Yeah, I watched it when I was older, and I got it out of the free library, and watched it when I was like in my early 20s, and I sort of enjoyed it. I was like, this is different, it's wacky, it's out there. I can't say it was awesome or that it completely fucking made sense, but
well,
it's like when I had a few beers when I watched it, so.
Fair enough.
But I do like, that's a great reference, and I never thought of that until you just said it now, that those things are like from Fantastic Planet. But yeah, like, if you can't even get the number of hours right in the day in your fucking movie, like, you are a piece of shit as a writer. Oh my god. And it just escalates from there. That's sort of the foundation they lay, and then on top of that, the more complicated problems with the movie all sort of resemble that simplistic thinking and that simplistic kind of error. Like, the theme of everything, without running down the list of individual problems, is it's a simplistically thought out movie, and it also has a bunch of things that just don't make sense and that sort of have a feeling of incompletion.
Yeah.
And that was, aside from the individual errors, that overall theme of shittiness is what I didn't like about it.
Right.
So I think that's really all that needs to be said. If you want to see some funny shit, the people over at Red Letter Media completely covered this.
Yeah. If you want more analysis of what we're doing, direct your attention to them.
Yeah. A lot of you probably know this. They're the guys that do Half in the Bag and Mr. Plinkett, which are two shows that are just awesome. I'm completely in love with both of those shows, and someday I want to meet those guys because they're amazing. So I think that covers Prometheus. We saw.
What else did I watch this summer, or did we watch?
Saw Batman.
Yeah, I saw Batman. Enjoyed that.
Pretty good movie, yeah. The one thing that I noticed is, and everybody's commented on Bane's voice already, and I didn't even mind it that much. I thought it was an interesting take on, trying to make something a little more interesting and unique. But my weird mind went here. Bane to me sounds sort of like an old man, like a sort of wizzled up old man who was really into Country Time Lemonade and Werther's Originals. and
now he's on oxygen.
yeah. He's like, I must destroy the Batman, but I also like Werther's Originals and Country Time Lemonade. Like, it's like a grandpa, but sort of trying to destroy Gotham City. That's just where I went with that.
It's if somehow your grandpa had his full potential unleashed and all of his misanthropy finally came to a head and just exploded. He would be Bane, basically, is what we're saying.
I was going to say that, except replace the word grandpa with Larry Flint. That's sort of what I see.
Oh, don't make fun of handicapped people.
Oh, I denounce and reject myself. So that was really the only thing regarding the Batman movie. What is it called? Dark Knight Rises.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. So the rest of it was pretty cool. I'm not really a big fan of making superheroes weak. Like breaking Batman's. I think it's been long enough to say what happens in the movie. Spoiler. Turn it off now.
Just spoiler.
Breaking Batman's back and locking him away, like that's sort of. I don't like seeing. Maybe I'm just being sort of naive or simplistic here, but I don't like it when you sort of write heroes down. Like in Rocky V, that was a piece of shit movie because they wrote Rocky as like a pathetic sort of has-been. And I don't like that. I think heroes should be heroes. They should be awesome and amazing. They should have little setbacks, but, I think it was a little weird to break his back. I think it was weird that Bruce Wayne had, like, bad arthritis and kidney trouble, like kidney scarring and things like that, where he couldn't be Batman anymore without, like, luckily they managed to find some gadgets that could make him Batman again because of the suit. I think that's just not the way, my opinion, but I don't like when hero movies go in that direction. Like, there should be some ass kicking going on because the hero's the hero, and he's defeated despite being super heroic, not because he's like becoming old and whatever. Like he's written as a weakling. That's shitty writing to me. So I don't know if you sort of feel differently about that.
A little bit. I mean, I think I do. I agree and I disagree, and I think the only point of disagreement comes from the fact that I don't see Batman. The reason I like Batman is because I see him as an anti-hero, and I'm sort of all right with that happening to an anti-hero, somebody that doesn't follow the rules, somebody who you identify with his goals but not necessarily his methods. Like I think it's lame when somebody is a straight up hero like Superman. Or I don't know, pick some other hero like that who's just supposed to be the archetypal hero. Like them getting defeated is just like you just don't feel good about it. But like somebody that I'm trying to think of another good anti-hero, like any series.
Rape Man.
Rape Man.
We'll cover that later though. But let's not do it now. But
Rape Man, like anything with like a vampire, like Blade.
Yeah.
Who who's the half-breed vampire hunter, like. That I can get with that more because vampires are bad, but you want Blade to win. So I that struggle there I can accept more in terms of like knocking them down and having them rise against. But like just going with the straight up hero motif and knocking them down, like when back in the '90s, I think in the comics they killed Superman or something. I was like, that's stupid.
Yeah,
I don't relate to that. But if it's an anti-hero, I can roll with it.